Hey guys, I'm Seid,
My name is Parker.
And I'm Mike.
and you're listening to the Try Hard podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to what I think this episode 16 or 17 of the Try Hard podcast. Don't have anything too special planned for today. I know I did post a Q&A on my Instagram story, but I think we only got two responses. So I think we're going to wait a little longer until we get a few more questions, and then we'll do a dedicated Q&A episode. I don't know how the TTL does it. They get so many questions. We get like two.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you we're not TTL.
Maybe one day we'll be TTL status. Actually, let me see. I did get one good question. Oh, we'll start off this podcast, I guess, with a little question here. So Emily underscore D8 from Instagram asks, would you rather never be injured or never pay for gear? Clothes, food, equipment, supplements, etc. I know
Uh,
my answer.
I know my answer as well.
Me too.
I would I would rather never have to pay for gear.
Really?
Oh
Yeah, me
yeah.
too. Easily.
Oh yeah.
Seriously? Wow, maybe I just have recency bias, but I would definitely prefer to just pay for all the gear and never be injured. Because the injury is like, I feel like, is like the one thing that just nags me.
I feel like for me personally, injuries kind of suck, but they also kind of force me to take a mini break, and I feel like I it's also kind of like part of the sport for me personally. So I don't know, it's kind of like the highs and the lows, and yeah, it's pretty funny actually. I was thinking about this when she asked the question. My best races have been after like I've had some sort of injury leading up to the race, like in the prep, and I think that goes to show just I think that says that I do too much of anything, but yeah, I don't like I hate getting injured when I'm in it and it sucks, especially too close to a race. But man, especially think if you could get like free bikes.
Mhm.
That would be nice. Actually, I'd take
Yeah,
I'd take
talk
a
about recency bias.
yeah. Speaking of which, I would take a free bike right now.
Yeah. Mm.
I'll have another question. This is a funny one. Maybe I'll throw in the comments that Ezra throws at me, like his questions he gives me on a daily basis. I need to. Oh, I found it.
All
He
right.
said, so we have a race coming up in just under 2 weeks now. It's almost race week. And he said, what's the handicap bike I would have to use to have an even race between me and you at Eagle Man? You get a CFR with no broken bolts. And then he said, run included, so you have to gap me. And he sent me a picture of some it looks like a canyon, maybe like gravel bike or something, like, and he's like, maybe this would work. And I said, no, we probably got to give you a one of those city bikes that tops out at 17 miles an hour and only has one gear.
You should send him a picture of that one yellow bike that these you know what I sent you guys.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Have you
honestly,
ever seen anything like that?
it looked like that person was more prepared to show up to a soapbox derby than like a bike race.
For those of you that are just listening, I can kind of describe it, or I guess watching too. I don't have it now, but it was. Hold on, I don't know how to describe it to you. It's like a little. Think of like one of those tri bikes or whatever. The tri. What are those called? Those cars, but they only have three wheels.
It's like one of the hand cycle bikes.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like a hand cycle bike, but it like covered. It had like a cover on top, and it looked like a yellow bullet almost. And the guy was sitting. He showed up to the bike time trial, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? I wonder if there's like a special division for like like fun bikes or something like that. But I don't know how he ended up doing. I didn't see him do the race, but yeah, it was pretty interesting to say the least. That's for sure.
Was he walking, or was it like, was the bike for like physically challenged?
I don't know. I didn't see. I All I saw was that yellow thing, and I saw it moving. So it was a yellow bullet. So
Yeah, interesting.
yeah, it was. But anyway, so now that we are kicking off this episode, how about we're thinking that we just do a little training recap, see how training's going now that Seid and I are both kind of recovered, getting back into the swing of things. As Mike mentioned, it's almost race week for him, but he's really not tapering. And then, yeah, maybe talk about Lionel's trip to Germany, see how much time we have before Mike has to head off to go swim. So, say you want to kick us off with last week's of training or
Yeah,
any training workouts you've done in the past week or two that you want to talk about?
yeah, sure. So last week was my first like official week back, I would say. So I had a week of 15 hours and like 30 minutes on actual week of training, which is nice to get back into training and like feeling pretty good. Nothing too crazy that stood out in the workouts. I guess started Tuesday with a 10-second, 30-second, 3-minute, and 20-minute power test. I guess talked about this last
Yeah.
podcast. So, but
Did we talk about the Sam Long workout?
no, I didn't. So I'll put that. And then yeah, so that was Tuesday. Realized I just need a lot more work on the bike. Then Wednesday was really fun. I got to go on the track again. So I did the Sam Long workout, which once again last podcast we talked about. So I did 5 rounds of 1K at 10K effort with 300 jog, then 300 fast right after that into a 300 jog, and I just kept repeating that. And that went really well. So that was actually a really, really fun workout, and I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to be doing it. I saw Parker loaded a treadmill workout next week, but I think I'm gonna switch it to this Sand Mall workout again if Parker allows it. I can't do the treadmill workout. It's just too hot in the treadmill room for me. Yeah.
Mental toughness.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm average like so I started with 646 in the 1K and went all the way down to my last 1K at 546. So I decreased each 1K by like 15-ish seconds. The 300 I started at 605 pace and then 5 minute pace. So once again, just like 10 to 15 seconds down each one, and that felt really good. And funny enough, Parker tagged Sam Long, and Sam Long actually commented on my Strava. So that was a huge moment for me. So that was exciting.
Yeah, now that was I remember we both saw the comment at the same time.
Yeah, which is funny.
Yeah, no, Sam, well, he usually responds. He's responded to a few of my tags before, so
Mhm.
I wasn't too surprised. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I asked if he wanted to come on the pod, but he never responded to that. uh, oh,
And
but
then Thursday I had a 5x5 on the bike, which was fun. So I did 295 for the first one, then 300, and then 305 for all of the rest of them. Just felt really nice and controlled. Just finally getting back into training. And then Friday was a big swim for me. So I flip turn on each turn. So now I can officially flip turn. So no more making fun of me for not being able to flip turn. So still not fast in the pool, but I can flip turn now. So that was good. And then Saturday I just went 3 hours outside, which was fun. So I did 64 miles with what was it, close to 5K, or was it 4,500 elevation, 205 average power, 235 or 235 normalized power at like 155 heart rate. So that felt really good and fun with a runoff after. And then I was supposed to do a run on Sunday, but the trails just got at me. And then yeah, and then it wasn't extended weekend for Memorial Day, so I just did a 2 hour easy ride yesterday outside because the pool was closed. So that was my training the past week. What about you, Mike? What'd you go on tap?
I'll list off a couple key sessions I did, but overall, good week. It was like 15 hours total of training, which is kind of like where it's like a pretty average good week for me nowadays. And I'd say one of my favorite sessions of the week was on Thursday. I was supposed to do, I think it was like some high cadence work, nothing crazy, but I requested from Parker to do a 5x5 minute key session that he and Simon did. And Parker told
and
me,
Zaid.
Oh, and Seid did it. Yes, you did that the day after I did, right?
I think I did
Or
it. Yeah,
Friday
I did.
or
Yep.
Thursday? Friday.
I think
And
it's the same day, but you just did it earlier in the morning.
oh, okay. Yeah, it's good. It's a good workout. And Parker told me it would be my funeral. So I decided to really go after this one. And for each 5 minute, I think the goal is supposed to build up to your FTP or yeah.
Just yeah, build up to or just above. So yeah, right
Okay.
around FTP.
So instead, I started at my FTP and then built beyond that. So I went 315, 320, 335, 335, and then 345. So I was happy about that one. That felt good. And then my last session of the week was a 16-mile long run on Sunday, and I was in Dallas for the Memorial Day weekend visiting Allison's family. And that was a good workout. There's like a nice run trail, not like an actual trail, just like a concrete path that you could bike or run or walk your dog on. So I did 2 loops on that, and it was nice that there was water, like fountains along the way, because the temperature started off in like the high 70s, and then by the end of the run, it got up to about 88 with a real feel of 92. So the last couple miles, uh, I was definitely feeling the heat, but I'm just glad that I didn't like blow up or bonk because usually in the past, like hot races for me have been my big issue. And part of the reason why like I might blow up in a race has to do with heat. So that was good. Heart rate did drift up, but I kind of knew that was going to happen anyway. But overall, solid week.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
and I
know,
got to swim long course in Dallas, and I've not swam long course meters. I've only done it once, and that was in Finland. So that was fun, and I definitely see the reason people like that or say that it is beneficial for your swimming because after the first like couple hundred meters, I was like, oh man, like I feel like I should have like even on the first lap, I was like, I should have hit a wall by now, but and I still have quite a bit to go.
just keep swimming, just keep swimming,
Yeah.
swimming.
And it's more fatiguing for sure. I think even though like you could technically do like the same yardage to meters like conversion, it definitely puts more fatigue by not getting that turn off the wall and doing like a little bit of an underwater. Not that I'm good at that or anything, but yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, maybe that's probably why Ari got so fast in the pool.
Mhm.
Is on all those long course meters.
Yeah. Definitely more representative of like your open water swim pace too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's actually I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah, that makes more sense.
Oh
It'd be
yeah.
interesting to do like yeah, seeing how much more accurate as like a CSS test or like you're getting your critical swim speed is in like long course meters versus short course yards. Hmm.
Yeah, because I'll tell you right now, like if I'm in a short course pool, and if I did the same workout, which was like 10 by 100 alternating 70.3 pace and Ironman pace, and then I did 2 500s. One I just kept it like pretty easy, and then the other one I like built. I was doing a little bit of a build and tried to at least descend on the second half. And in a short course pool, I don't usually like my pace doesn't usually creep over like 120 per 100. So if I was doing like an easy 500 though, it would maybe be like a 122 pace per 100, 123 like if I'm definitely feeling tired. And for example, the 500 meters, which came out to 547 yards, was at a 128 per 100 pace.
Hmm.
And then when I did like the descend on the second one or like trying to build through it, it was 126 per 100 pace. And like at the end of that 500 meters, I definitely felt like I was swimming at like almost like up tempo borderline threshold pace. And like my threshold pace is like 118 per 100. So there's quite a bit of variation.
So I'm in a long course meter pool twice here. And that we have one, and they alternate if it's like long course meet or short course yards, but it was just like too far away. It was too cold, so I stopped going to that one.
Yeah.
But I have started going to the masters group at my local swim pool, which I actually really enjoyed. It's switching it up a bit. I'm doing more different strokes. Not a lot, but at least probably 200 yards worth of non-freestyle stuff, which I think it adds up, and it does switch it up a bit. And one of the things I've liked most about it is like I'm showing up to workout with really no expectations. Like, for example, if Natasha gives me a workout, it's like, for example, tomorrow I have some 200s descending rest. Like, I already have an idea of what a successful session will look like. And if I start off tomorrow, I'm not hitting that, I'm going to kind of get mad at myself or like disappointed. Whereas, like, these workouts, I just show up and I swim and I have a good time. And like, I don't really care what paces I'm going because it's all different. So yeah, it's fun and switch it up a bit. So actually, I went to that last Tuesday, although I was impressed with myself. Master swim group starts at 5:30, and I set my alarm, but I got a bad night's sleep. So I was like, and this is my first time going to go to, so like, I'm not going to go this time. Yeah, so I woke up. I ended up waking up at 5:17, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go." But I was like, "Wait, the pool's only like 5-10 minutes away. I could probably still get there and just like maybe miss the warm up." I was in the water by 5:35.
Mm.
I was pretty impressed with myself, and I didn't break any speeding laws either. So I had all green lights. Look, I have to cross a train track though, and sometimes I get screwed with that. But I got lucky. But anyway, after the Masters on Tuesday, I had that 5x5 session that Mike talked about, and then some hill strides. Although it was interesting, I asked my coach, maybe she doesn't, but last Tuesday I had 6x20 second hill strides, and today I had 6x15. So I asked her if there was any reason behind that, and she still hasn't responded. So we'll see. Maybe next episode if those 5 seconds make a difference. But then
She's
what
just
other?
gonna make
Go
you.
harder on those? Did you go harder since they were like shorter, or you kept?
Not really. I mean, it's 5 seconds. I have this hill that's about like it takes about 20 seconds to get up the hill. And so 15 seconds, I pretty much ran pretty much the same effort, which is close to all. She said not for it to be a sprint, but just like strong running. So last time I just went a little bit, I finished up the hill, whereas this time I kind of stopped and then I walked a little bit and then finished up the hill. But yeah, I was visualizing those orange cones from Placid.
Yeah.
um, and then Thursday I had the fun workout, I guess, was a 30-30 treadmill session, which I think we've talked about on here before. That was a good one. Saturday I had the bike time trial, which I ended up doing twice because I was I felt like Mike. I didn't like my result the first time. So after 2.5 hours of easy riding, I went back and did the course again by myself, and I held more power the second time. So yeah.
So, question on that. You held more power. Do you know that like the time split? Was it actually a faster split?
No, because I started a little bit later on the course. And
Okay.
so yeah, I started a little like so I didn't yeah, it was a little
I
slower,
see.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had less win the second or more win the second time I did it. Yeah, so just slower conditions. But I pushed like 10 watts more the second time. But I think the reason why I felt so crappy the first time is I literally gave myself 20 minutes to warm up. And I could tell as soon as I started, like my chest was like felt super tight and like constricted. And like my muscles felt, and this was like after like 40 minutes of driving. So I'd got there, literally checked in, got on my bike, pretty much biked to the start of the race, and then they said go. So I was like, oh
Hmm.
boy. So it wasn't ideal, but it was great riding out there. So it's in Caneville, Illinois. So it was about like, yeah, 30-40 minutes away. I might be doing some longer rides out there. But yeah. And then I had a good treadmill run on Sunday, which I might get to Mike. There's a 3 rounds of 20 minutes easy, 10 minutes at 90%. So 90% heart rate. But I added some incline.
We could yeah, I'm all for that.
I think I gave that to you as an option. I think after the week after
Eagle Man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
depending
would
on
be
how
great.
you're feeling.
Yeah, maybe like yeah, Wednesday or Thursday in that week or Friday, like on the later half of the week.
Yeah. Mhm.
Nice.
Yep.
So
But
should we
oh
talk about Lionel or
yeah.
the training?
Well, I was gonna say one more. I had one more fun master swim group today. It was a ladder. We started at 300, and I guess because the guy that coaches it, he has a kid that goes to school, and they've been counting down the days till the end of school. And so
Mhm.
this was like a countdown workout. So we started at 12 laps, then 11 laps, then 10, then 9, all the way down to 1. The last lap was supposed to be a sprint 25, and he let us start from the blocks, but my
Oh,
goggles fell off after I dove in, so I didn't do it.
yeah. Form goggles, diving off the blocks doesn't work very well.
No. But yeah,
All right, so we'll talk about Lionel.
yeah. I guess Mike, if you want to start us off, you're the Canyon Guru. What did you
Yeah.
think?
Well, to start it off, for anyone that hasn't been following along Lionel's YouTube channel, he made a 6-part vlog series where he did a trip to Hollywood, filmed a commercial for the feed, and then made his way over to
And
Germany.
Talbot, you can't forget Talbot.
And Talbot, yes, of
He's the
course.
main star.
I know. He's the best. He does a really good job with these videos too. I love it. And then especially in like the last, I think it was the last video when they did the tour of the Canyon factory, like they've got some new colorways for the Canyon Speed Max that are gonna drop in the summer. And my guess is they're only gonna be available in Europe because that's kind of what Canyon does. Like anytime they drop a new colorway, it's only for the ones in Europe. Like what was also cool was that you could just walk into the Canyon, I guess factory. They have like a storefront in Germany, and you can buy a bike, and they always carry minimum one bike in size small and like two, sometimes two frames in size medium and large for like their whole selection of bikes, which is pretty nice. And unfortunately, you can't do that in the US. So if you're in a pinch for a new Canyon Speed Max, it's not easy to acquire one in North America.
Mhm.
But yeah, the I think the best part of the whole video series, in my opinion, was Lionel's aero testing in the wind tunnel. And I don't know if anyone saw, but at the very end of the video, and maybe throughout parts of the video, you could hear someone's voice that you may recognize if you watch a lot of triathlon content. But Jan Frodeno was there, advising and I think helping him out. But like it wasn't shown in the video until the very
That's
end when he was holding
Okay.
that's
So
the wind
that,
stream. That was Jan.
yeah, yeah. Jan's his coach. You know that, right?
I knew Jan was advising him on things. I didn't know if he was like his full-time coach, but when I heard his voice, I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense that Jan is there because it's like it's so close to Jan."
Yeah, no, that's like I think that's Jan's facility, or is it his facility, or he like helped pay for it or make it? Yeah, I think Jan's like his full-time
Probably.
coach, like for sure, because like on Pro Tri News confirmed that. So like so,
Oh, I didn't know that.
they confirmed that today on their podcast or the new podcast that came out like, yesterday or today.
That's pretty
oh,
exciting.
so that makes so much more sense because I saw one of the comments on the video. I think it was in part 6. One of the top comments was like, "Coach Jan in the house," and I was so confused because I didn't see it. I kept looking for him, and I'm like, "Where is he?" Because I guess I was listening or watching it while I was on the bike, so I didn't have the volume that loud. So I didn't hear it. But
I got suspicious as soon as they took out a Ryzen kit because
oh yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, and at that point, I didn't know until Say just mentioned it. I didn't know that Jan was like his legitimate coach. I just was thinking because Ryzen, I believe, was started by Jan and friends of his or something, or he was like one of the early founders or investors in Ryzen. And when they gave him a kit, I was like, oh, Jan definitely like had that sent to him and wants him to use it.
Yeah, the funny story behind that. So like all the Pro Tri News guys pranked Mark saying that Lionel's coach was Lionel's wife. And then so Mark Matthews was having coffee with Jan Frodeno and he's like, "Yeah, so have you heard about Lionel's coach? His coach is his wife." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Who told you that? I'm coaching him." And I thought that was the funniest story ever. Mark Matthew gets back into the car with like all the other guys like what the hell, guys? Like, why'd you tell me that? I made myself look like a fool in front of Jan. I thought that was just the funniest story ever.
It's funny. Huh. Well, it actually really makes me excited there. Now I'm super excited that Jan and Lionel are working together.
I think that's super cool.
Now I wonder, it must just be for the bike and the run though, because I assume, at least I don't think he's getting coached by Jan in this school too. I think he's going to that. He's still going to Aqua Bears for the swimming, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Did you guys like I don't know, I want to go back and rewatch it and take notes about like every little change they made. But all the testing they did in Aero was pretty cool, like starting off with the cockpit and then I can't remember which order they went in, but I think it was like cockpit, then helmets, then suits, and then like changing bottle configurations at one point. Maybe that was part of like the cockpit changes. But
One
there
thing, well, I was wondering, I kind of skipped through some of the parts of the video, but I know that Lionel was asking, did they ever test the cockpit at a lower angle? Because I know that's something I think he asked, and I
they
think
did.
the guy said like we'll do it later or something. Did they ever do that?
They did. They threw it up on the board, but they didn't show it. They did briefly mention it that the results pretty much came out, I believe, the same or within 1 watt savings of the higher stack. And they said for hip angle and like being able to run well off the bike, you might as well just use the higher stack in this case. So they ended up going with, I think it was like 20 millimeters of stack height from the base bar, something like that.
Yeah.
What was your favorite Aero like takeaway or savings?
Well, I was wondering, did they ever test the shaven legs? 'Cause I saw that they said it's going to come in a next video, but then they kept playing. So was that in that video as well?
They did, and they wrote it up on the board. And when they were doing the testing, I believe the shaved legs came in after the helmets and possibly either before or after the suit testing, but they were down into the low like 2.23 or 2.24. And the first test they did after shaving legs, he came in at like 2.1. And then I didn't see what it was on the board, but it was under 2.2. And like Lionel was just like, you've got to be kidding me.
I think it was like 10 watts, I think.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it was nuts. So yes, shaving legs and arms is important.
That's why but I always tell my athletes to do it 2 nights before the race, not the night before, because you can sometimes you cut yourself or whatnot, and then you don't want to be racing with that. But yeah, 2 nights before. I actually set a reminder that the same day I sign up for a race, I set a reminder 2 nights before on for that race to shave my legs and arms. So yeah,
Yeah.
good tip.
Yeah, I shaved my arms too for like Texas. I think it helped with like the road rash. I think it's just better like for healing wise. So I think sometimes like if you like road rash with like hairs can get like easily affected too. So that kind of worked out for me too, which is funny. Not like a crazy like weird tan where it happens outdoor riding.
It also, when you're ripping off your wetsuit, I find it easier for me to pull that thing off when I've got no hair on my arms or legs.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Another interesting finding was with the same helmet that Seid uses. So the POC helmet. The POC helmet, I believe, in just like I think they said maybe at higher speeds, straight on, was technically the fastest and most aerodynamic, but he ended up going with the Met drone helmet because when they tested, I think it was maybe different yaw angles or like the positioning of his head. Like if it's the POC helmet is so specific that if it's not in like the right position, because of like the flange on the side of it, then it doesn't test that much faster than say
Hmm.
some of the other helmets.
I think it was
Uh,
like 2 watts slower than all the other ones at that like speed. What was it? I think it was like what were they saying? 45K an hour, but when it's 60K an hour, then it's like not noticeably faster, but like 4 or 5 watts faster. Like you're
Right.
rarely ever going 60K an hour in an Ironman, I feel like.
right, exactly.
I mean,
Um,
speak for yourselves, but
yeah, I'll be descending in the aero bars at 60 plus kilometers, maybe 60 miles an hour in Lake Placid on some of those descents.
oh yeah.
It's a little scary out there, but on a flat road, no, I'm not hitting 60
Yeah.
kilometers. What even is 60 kilometers convert to? Is
I
that
don't know if we have a bike split.
1.6
what is it?
divided by 1.6, I think, right? because I know miles to kilometer. Yeah, because hey Siri, what's 60 kilometers per hour in miles per hour?
37 and a half.
60 kilometers.
37.2.
37.28 miles per hour.
Imagine, like, I did that, I think I was doing 40 miles an hour for like maybe 10 seconds and I was terrified. Like, imagine holding that the whole Ironman. Like, that'd be insane.
It would, yeah, no one's ever
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. But yeah, and then he tested a whole bunch of suits, like the Surpass suit, the two different Rise on suits. One, they're both the Verge, but one was an older model, one was a newer model. He even tested a Castelli, which I
That was
think
the fastest one.
yeah, it tested the fastest, but he didn't end up going with it. He's sticking with the Surpass suit.
We also tested Cassie's, right?
Yes, yes, he did. I think if it was a wetsuit legal race, then he might consider it, but if it's not, then he's like, I'm
Yeah.
not bothered with the timing of all that.
Mhm.
But they did hook him up with some pretty cool like cockpit adjustments. Like he was using the Aero Coach aero bars and aero cups, and then moved over to like the special made Canyon Aero cups. Like they're longer ones, and they also have like a deeper like sidewall, which like you can't buy on the like from Canyon. It's only for like Canyon Factory athletes or Canyon Factory racing athletes. And they have like this plate underneath that like covers the
That
whole.
is duct tape. It looks like duct tape.
Yeah, they were using duct tape at first, and then I think his final setup will have that like plate underneath. And then they had some crazy bottle thing as well that had like two normal sized bottles under his
It
chest.
was like Matthew Marquardt uses.
Yeah, he ended
Yeah.
up going with just one of them, but I thought the two would have been pretty cool. And then another interesting thing you see, like on Backegard and Sam Laidlow's bike, and maybe even Patrick Lange, they have like the big, like huge flange at the back of the bike for the water bottle holder.
Mhm.
And for Lionel, that back of the bike did not test faster than like the standard rear bottle cage mount that's just like a one bottle right behind the saddle.
Hmm.
So that was kind of interesting to see that it didn't test any faster for him.
One of my favorite parts was who was the guy that bought all those damn power meters? You know, the boxes, who was it? They were shipping, they were in the factory.
It was Patrick Lange.
Oh, that's who,
Yeah, and I bet you know why? And those were all Shimano boxes, and I by saying this, I'll never get it. Not that I'm ever gonna get a sponsorship from Shimano, but I never will. Apparently their Dura Ace power meter is like totally crap, which is why on my new bike that is coming with a Shimano Dura Ace power meter, I opted to go with power pedals instead. And there's a whole bunch of tests that DC Rainmaker and Shane Miller ran on the Dura Ace one, and it's like all over the board, inaccurate, especially when you go into the small chain ring. It's not even close. So
why do you think he bought so many then?
I don't know. I wonder if it's like something new, like a prototype that maybe they've got something that's actually better, or
Yeah.
maybe he's just testing a bunch of chain rings. I don't know. I think it was also maybe a joke that they weren't all for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
He also makes like custom ones, because I know you can see like those one buys that have like the Dura-Ace crank, but then they don't have like the Dura-Ace like hogs. So maybe
Yeah, I was looking that up recently, and there's a company called Digerit that makes some of these for these guys, and like we're talking like standard chain rings. I think you can get like 50, 52, 54. Like some of these are like 68, 66, like just
Wow.
massive chain rings, and they're running that as a one buy, which is just mind-boggling to me. But it just goes to show the crazy power that these guys are pushing.
That's real big gear. Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Lionel and Jan, do you guys want to talk about Sam
hmm
and his decision to go to or try to qualify for Kona?
Yeah. Say,
Do
do
you
you
think
want
he'll be able to?
Yeah, I think he's definitely gonna qualify, because what Karen's has what, four? I think four slots. And I
Mhm.
think definitely, like, I think there's already people that are starting that already have slots. So I
Isn't
think
it Canes?
Canes or Cairns? How do you say it? I don't know.
Canes, Karens. I was like, who are you talking about? Karen? Who's
Oh,
Karen?
Kane.
I
Oh,
doubt
okay, so
it's
Canes.
Iron Man Canes, I think.
I thought there was an R in
Think
there.
about think about
It
how
is, but I think it's silent.
yeah, it's Australians don't really say the R. That's like oh nar.
Yeah.
instead of, oh no.
Yeah. I think he's definitely gonna get slot. But the one thing I was thinking about for, like for the Pro Series, he's gonna race Placid as well to get 3 Ironmans in. Because that's what like some people were like talking about. Because he's like he could definitely like still win the Pro Series because he's only like 30 points down on so he's won a 70.3 and he's like 30 points down on at Oceanside. So he already has two and I think he's already qualified for 70.3 Worlds. So if he does well at Canes, he could like win the overall series, but some people are saying like to win the series he could also win it without Lake Placid, but some people are thinking that he is doing Lake Placid. So I don't know. I've been seeing people saying that he might do Placid.
Is the requirement to do minimum 3 Ironmans?
It's not a requirement, but that's the way you can get the most points though, because Ironmans give you 5K points, 70.3s only give you 2,500, and then Kona's 6K points. But even if he does like well at Kona, then he could still sneak out a win. But I don't know. Some people are saying if he does focuses on the Ironman Pro Series, then he's probably just gonna come third in the Pro Series and then comes third in 70 point and T100. So what do you guys think? Should he focus on Ironman or like T100 or because he had such a good start at T100?
I
And
think I think Sam. Watch Sam just win everything. Watch
yeah.
T100, the Ironman Pro Series, Kona, and 70.3 World Champs. He's gonna retire after this year.
He just
Uh,
bought a new house, so if he wins everything, he pretty much could pay off his home mortgage probably this year.
yeah.
Um, I I think he should just do both and just as long as he can keep doing like these doubles and racing as much as he can, like just do it. As long as your body can hold up. I mean, what's there to lose at this point? He's world number one. He's basically accomplished everything other than maybe winning a world championship. And I guess he hasn't won a PTO race, but I think that will happen very soon.
Do you think it'll happen at San Francisco?
Ah,
I don't think it will.
no?
I
Who
was listening
He's
to
already
what?
that's such a hard swim, and he's already such a slow swimmer that's gonna hurt him that much more. So I don't know. That's what at least that's what I think. I don't know.
Essentially. It should be a hilly bike too, right? They just loaded the course maps today and I looked at it. I didn't see the elevation profile, but I know that the Escape from Alcatraz bike is usually a hilly bike course.
Yeah, I didn't get to look at it closely, but I just saw in comments that it's a completely different than the Alcatraz course. So
Well,
I
I was also listening to I think that triathlon show. And they were talking about how he's Sam's at a disadvantage for a few reasons. One is because the swim. Two, it's not the past two PTO races have been super hot, and he does very well, I think, compared to the others in the heat. And this one will not be hot. And three, there with the there's going to be a lot that Magnus is going to be there, so he's going to have to push a lot more power, I think, to reach the front of the group. Yeah. And so not hopefully, but I think that his legs are going to be quite a bit more tired starting the run, but we'll see.
Do you think Magnus is a stronger biker than Sam? Or is that a given? I feel like they're maybe closer than
I think they're closer, but Sam's going to have to work a lot harder to catch up than he would, without Magnus there.
yeah, it's a fair point.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how he could bridge the gap on Magnus. His run is probably stronger than Magnus's, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that race the same weekend as Eagleman, Mike? Do you know?
It is. Yeah, Ezra and I are gonna watch that Saturday, I think.
And
It's
Eagleman,
Saturday, right? The races, I hope.
Yeah, it's the 8th.
All right, good. Because then we race the 9th.
nice.
Yeah. Great. Well, I know Mikey actually had a question for you. Since when you swim so late, because you swim at what, 7?
Yeah, 7.
Do you eat dinner before or after the swim?
Most of the time I eat dinner before, but today I had like a snack right before the podcast today. So
Okay.
but there have also been nights where like I'll eat if I make dinner, I'll like split it in two. So I'll have like half of it before the swim and then half after, so that I don't like have this like really like full stomachs. I always feel like I'm loading up my biggest meal. I feel like is almost always dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to swim with too much in my stomach, but I know if I ate, yeah, if I didn't eat after swimming, I'd be starving if I went to bed without eating anything. But then he swims
Yeah.
so much. Yeah.
I swim less and less at night now. It was just because of the like FTP test this morning. I wanted to do it first thing and
Yeah.
not have any fatigue from swimming.
And I don't want to say your coach was right, but I will say that you did do that hard bike workout on Thursday, which I told you not to do. Or was it Friday? It was Friday. Was it Friday or Thursday?
It was Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday, and today, well, yeah, let's just say that
It wasn't.
Mike was regretting that decision about minute 7 on the bike today.
Yeah, it was like once I like, yeah, I was like, that Thursday workout was hard, and then doing a 16-mile long run on Sunday, and now I'm like, yeah, there was probably some fatigue in my legs, and I know it for a fact because I have a very hard time getting my heart rate up into the 180s on the bike. Like that just never happens for me. I think the last test I was like under maybe 176 the entire time. And this time the last 5 minutes, I think I was like averaging close to 180. I was like, I never see that number ever. So effort, it was there.
At least you held it together for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Next time I might just turn power off for the whole thing and we'll see what happens because that seemed to be better for me.
Oh, well, any new nutrition products you guys try? Any new gels? Nothing. I will be putting an order in on the feed, I think, soon. So if anyone listening or watching wants me to try something, let me know or DM me or comment or something. But I don't think I've tried anything new. Maybe I can check my notes if I have tried something. Oh, one of those torque gels. I did try a lemon drizzle torque gels. I like those a lot. If you guys haven't tried those, I would highly recommend them. But
I like those. The raspberry drizzle is a pretty good one.
yeah, raspberry ripple. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, raspberry ripple. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, no products for me. I think just tried a new Nerdy Nuts first time in like a couple months. Really.
Oh, what did your dad think? I know you bought your dad some. Has he responded?
He liked it. Yeah, he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's finished it yet. Probably not. I hope not, because that would be pretty soon. But yeah, he liked it.
Discount code FastFoodies10 on Nerdy Nuts, and as always, to save money on raw or revived products, you guys can use code NVDM. Speaking of which, I think they're launching their electrolytes very soon. They're gonna have a few flavors. I'm most excited for the chocolate one. I've actually noticed. I've been thinking you can mix that in oatmeal and have like chocolate oatmeal. Should be pretty good, I think, depending on how salty it is. But they also have I think they are having like 2 other fruity flavors that should be coming out too. Maybe like a margarita one or something.
Some mojito, I think.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, mojito.
One thing I learned actually on one of the nutrition products that I always have, and it's the Precision Hydration 1500. It's like the tablets. I I knew that they had 750 milligrams of sodium, but I never really looked at the other ingredients, and I just figured that the reason it was called 1500 was because it was like 750 sodium plus whatever, like magnesium, potassium. I was figuring that those were adding up to 1500 in one tablet. I was wrong. Found out as I was looking at the feed doing a reorder for some of those that 1500 is per liter. So like per 32 fluid ounces. So if you want the 1500 milligrams of sodium, which is what I would need per hour pretty much during a race, you actually have to use 2 tablets per 32 ounces. I mean, most of my bottles are like 20 to 24 ounces, and I usually just do one. But on hotter days now, I might actually start doing 2 of those.
Well, there you go. Oh, one more thing. On Amazon, I like looking for new electrolyte supplements and whatnot. And I bought these. I thought they were those tablets that you put in water, but they're actually electrolyte tablets that they're chewables. They're like little chewable tablets. And I was like, I kept putting them in the water. I'm like, why aren't these dissolving? Aren't they supposed to dissolve? And then I finally read the label a little closer, and it's like chew 20 chewable tablets. I'm like, oh, makes more sense. But, yeah. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it for all. Or for today. Mike, hope you have a good swim. Seid, good job on the bike workout today. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And we may have a guest on next week. If not, then I'm sure we'll find something interesting to talk about, as we always do. All right.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Try Hard podcast. If you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you could share with others and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can either DM us on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube, or message us through the Spotify app. Lastly, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this week's episode, the Naperville Acupuncture Center. If you ever find yourself in the Chicagoland area and are dealing with some aches and pains, I cannot recommend Frank and Angela enough. They do an amazing job over there, and I promise you will leave feeling so much better. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you guys back here next week.
Hey guys, it's Seid.
Do it one more time.
Hey guys, it's Seid.
My name is Parker.
I'm Mike.
And you're listening to the Try Hard podcast. Were you gonna go, Mike? I thought you said you just didn't
Sorry.
want to introduce
No,
it.
because I went last. I wasn't sure if you
It's
wanted...
the first person always says it.
All right, all right.
Mike,
All right, one more
Mike,
time.
Mike.